Hi, Kevin at Ledoux Guitars. I'm back again today with another chapter in the Building an Acoustic Bass series. Today I'm going to glue the top down to the rims, and that will close up the box. So I thought I'd show you a couple of techniques that I use. Maybe there's something in it for newer builders. I don't think there's anything too particular for acoustic bass in particular. So anybody building acoustic guitars, maybe I got a pointer or two that can be of use to you. So we'll move on from here. To get the top down on the rim set lined up properly so that its center line coincides with the center line of the rim set, I do a couple of things. First, I have these blocks. Now, these blocks are 750 thousandths of an inch wide, or very close to that, and they are made to slip into that heel block. You don't need a tight fit, you don't need to wedge it in, but a nice snug fit is all you need. And after I make those blocks, I use a dial height gauge to scribe that center line, because that way I can find absolute dead center, no question about it. That just is a handy way to do that. Now at the other end of the instrument, I measure very carefully across my tail block. I locate its dead center, and I mark that out here on the end inlay. It's easy enough so far, right? So now I'm going to take my top. Now this has already been fitted, so it's going to look like it's going really smoothly, but at this stage of the game it really doesn't go this smoothly at all. But now what I'll do is set the top on the guitar, and to get it lined up, you can't see everything at once, and if you keep turning it around, you know, things move on you. So what I do is use this mirror, and by sighting down on the mirror, I can line up the center line of the top with the line on that block, and the same thing at this end of the guitar. The mirror will show me that, and it's very clearly visible. So it's easy. You don't have to bend over and look at it with a parallax view and all that stuff. Now when I have that, I'm going to put my arm over it. You could put weights on there, I suppose, but I very carefully hold this, and if it moves, yep, you got to go back and start all over again. But what I'm going to do, since at that point I would have braces sticking out here, the lower X, the upper cross strut, and the upper X will be sticking out. What I'm going to do is go around the body and trace the ends of those, here and down here, same on the other side. And that's going to tell me where the ends of the braces are at the outside of the body. I'm also going to mark where those brace positions are. You could probably see this one most easily, where I've marked, there's the lower X. I just marked where it is on the rim. And when I've done that all the way around, then I'm able to transfer those marks to the top edge of the rim, and I'll cut those in with the Dremel tool. Okay. Now I found just a quick and easy way to get a proper depth with my Dremel tool. I use a 1/8 inch spiral upcut bit to do that work, and I need to get the proper depth for that bit. And you could measure it, I guess, but an easy way to do this is to just come to the brace in question. We'll use this lower X here, and I'm just going to put this contour gauge over it, like so. And that is the depth where that brace is, or excuse me, that is the depth that the brace has to drop down into the rim. So then I can come to my Dremel tool and I can set that depth up. See if you get that so that you can see it there properly. Okay, so I'll adjust until all of that lines up, and then I've got the proper depth of cut. Now I'm not going to demonstrate this. I don't think you really need to see that, but and as I said, I have already done this. So then I'll go around with my Dremel tool, and you want to hold this very carefully because you don't want any slop and you don't want it to get away from you. But you can, if you're patient, you can route that off there, and it will be a nice clean fit. So then on my top, what I'll have is the braces will be still extended out at that point, and I'll have lines showing me where the brace hits the outer edge of the rim. So now, using just common sense judgment, I come inside and I cut with a craft saw. I cut those braces off so that they will fit inside the rim and down onto that lining. And I do that, of course, at the upper cross strut, the upper X, and at the lower. You're going to chisel those off, of course, and then you try a fit. Now, you might get a perfect fit the first time around. Sometimes you have to tweak. If you have to tweak anything with respect to depth, I shave a little bit, because we're talking 64ths of an inch and less. Shave a little bit off the braces, not try and deepen the mortise that's in the lining itself. And sometimes you'll have to trim a brace back. You may have misjudged, but keep with it, stay with it. It all comes together. And of course, I check as I've completed this. I want to check to make sure that my center lines are where they need to be. Okay? It's just that simple. There's really nothing too complicated about doing this. And I'm sure a lot of you use this technique, or maybe even have a better one. I've placed the body in the go bar deck, and I have adjusted the upper portion of it high enough so that I get proper pressure with my go bars, and I'm supporting the rim set, or the so far assembled body, if you will, on the proper radius dish, 25 foot in this case. So I'm going to assemble the top to it, and I'm going to trace around it, which I have actually already done. So I'm going to show you over here as we come around. You can see an orange line here. I use a colored pencil because when I trace around the guitar, that orange line will show up. So I've got this all together, and I trace around the underside of this. I could leave this excess on here, I suppose, and take it off with a router or chisels later. But by removing that excess, I see the edge of the rim exactly where it is. And when I put my go bars down, I'll be able to place them exactly where they need to be, instead of having to make any guesses and, getting the pressure where I don't need it, or missing the mark, so to speak. So I have already marked that with my colored pencil. I'm going to go and trim that excess off with a bandsaw off camera, and come back and assemble this. So I've cut off the excess on the bandsaw. That gives me a better feel for where my clamps go. And I'm ready to glue this down, with the exception of just one last thing, and I'm sure probably everybody out there does this, but if you don't, you really should. There's my name and today's date. I like to sign the inside of them, and once in a while I will write inside there something that someday maybe a repairman will laugh at, something humorous, maybe some political satire or something like that. Just kind of fun to do. So I'm not going to waste your time spreading glue in front of the camera, so I'm going to go off camera and start gluing this thing down. Well, here we are with the top fully glued down, and you can see that takes quite a few go bars to do the job, but there it is. So I guess my next chapter in this tale will be what? Binding, neck, something, who knows. I hope this was entertaining for the casual onlooker, and I hope it might have been informative for some of the newer or beginning builders. Thanks again for watching. I hope you put a like on the video and maybe subscribe to my channel. I'm Kevin Ledoux, the Pragmatic Luther, reminding you once again, I am the largest manufacturer of guitars in the entire town of Triangle, New York.